Now, it is my great honor to introduce our keynote speaker, retired Professor Steve Piscitelli. I bet many of you in the audience have had him as a professor. Now, Steve is author, educator, optimist, and friend of FSCJ. Steve is a champion for personal growth and resilience. Steve brings a highly personal and enlightening outlook on where each of you stand today because he's most likely contributed to your success in some way. He began his teaching career here at FSCJ and continued until his retirement in 2015. His contributions to this college go far and beyond the classroom, and we are proud to welcome him here to share his personal anecdotes, his thoughts, maybe even a provoking point or two that I believe will be an inspiration to us all. Please join me in welcoming Steve Piscitelli.
I'm thinking the keynote has just been given. That was a wonderful presentation by your students. And thank you, Dr. Bioteau, for allowing me to be here today and your team for making it possible. I want to say a special hello and thank you to the faculty who had years the opportunity to work with, collaborate with, and establish friendships. And in a large part, I'm here because of them today. So thank you very much. And I was given 2 instructions today, and I don't like the platform, so I'm coming down to talk with you. I was given 2 instructions. Be inspirational and keep it short. So, yeah, I think I'm the only thing between you and your degree, so I know this is not good. Whoop, there we go. Is it working? So we will keep it brief. Thinking of what to say, especially inspirational. You have inspiration around this entire arena. I'd like you to think of your family, your friends. I'd like you to think of your employers, your ministers, your neighbors, the store owner down the street. Those are the inspirations. Never forget their stories. You folks remind me of my students who inspired me every single day I walked in the classroom. No exaggeration. Never forget your story, ever, because you're going to be the inspiration to somebody, many somebodies along the way. What I would like to do today is to focus on aspects of your life. Your rainbows, your relationships, and your resilience. When we talk about inspiration, I want you to do one thing right now. Now, Dr. Bioteau mentioned the gratitude card you got. That's phenomenal. I'd like you to look at that section there where the faculty are, and I'd like you to think right now that one faculty member, that one professor, and I know there were many, but the one who made a difference, and maybe even is the reason you walk here today. It could have been the math professor who made things like the quadratic equation understandable. Or it could have been an English, a reading professor, who for the first time in your schooling allowed you to see the meaning in some beautiful literature. A writing instructor who helped voice. And don't forget the history professor who could show you how what looked like dry events from the past had connection and relevance to the uncertain times of the present. If you haven't done so already, send them an email, leave a voicemail, write them a card. Let's talk about your rainbows. Those are your dreams, your goals, your journey. Now you heard the student speaker, Liz, speak about connecting the dots. I'm going to encourage you to think about the dots you're collecting and why you are collecting those dots. I want you to think about your experiences and why you have those particular experiences. And as you move out into the workplace with multiple generational attitudes, and differing perspectives about people, place, purpose, the key question, how will you stay relevant? How will you continue to develop experiences? You have had thousands of experiences to this point in your life. You're going to have thousands more. Ask yourself, what is the point of those experiences, and how will I continue to add to those experiences? And what difference do they make in your life? How do they help you stay resilient? On Monday, I get the opportunity to fly to Toronto, and I'm going to work with an audience of corporate managers about goal achievement. Now, these people know how to set goals. They're corporate managers. What they want to talk about is how to make sure goals connect with not just the organizational bottom line, but with their personal growth and their employees' personal growth. Each dot, each moment, each day, you create your reality. What's the reality going to be? I'm going to give you a little story about two baseball players. That's the 1950s. Casey Stengel is managing the great New York Yankees. He looks out into the field, and as the story goes, he points over there and he says, you see that player over there? He's 20 years old, and in 10 years he's going to be an all-star. He said, and you see that player over there? He's also 20 years old, and in 10 years he's going to be 30. What makes the difference? It's the dots we collect, but the dots we connect and the difference they make. So as you're moving forward, think about creating your reality one day at a time, and who are you going to take on your journey? Now, when we talk relationships, let's talk extremes. You can have hundreds and hundreds of people, friends, who agree with everything you say. Doesn't necessarily lead to growth. What it does do, those echoes create an echo chamber of self-congratulations, narrow framing, and confirmation bias. Do you surround yourself with people who say what you want to hear or say what you need to hear when it comes to growth? And I encourage you to surround yourself with those people who will say what you need to hear. Monday, I got into my car, turned the key, nothing. Dead battery. Now, I could have had 15 people sit in that car and say, gee, Steve, nice car, great seat, feels good, beautiful wax job, great tires. Sounds good. The system didn't work. I had to get somebody to fix the system. Your relationships are good for that. But your relationships need to connect to your core values. The other side of the spectrum, will you allow people into your head and into your heart who you would never invite into your home? Haters are going to hate. You know that. They're going to hate. They're going to distract you from where you need to go and your core values. So will you follow their core values, or will you follow your core values? That's part of what you need to ask every day. And when it comes to relationships, you have to ask yourself, what is your part in the relationship? Will you be the blessing you want people to give to you? Will you be the blessing you want to see in your community? Rabbi Kushner, in a great book, Living a Life That Matters, says we all carry at least one piece to someone else's puzzle. Maya Angelou, be a rainbow in somebody's cloud. When I spoke at Sitting Bull College on Standing Rock Reservation in North Dakota, I kept hearing two words in the Dakota language over and over again. Translate it, we are all related. How do we stay connected? Tony Shea from Zappos will tell you, you got to maximize your collisions to accelerate your serendipity. That is, you maximize the opportunities to meet people who bring you places you never thought possible. But you got to stay open to it. And then the last thing I'd ask you to consider is, how will you take care of yourself? Your resilience, the ability to bounce back, your well-being. You are resilient. You've fallen many times and gotten up, and you keep coming back. But be mindful of your well-being. Make sure the stories you tell yourself about exercise, sleep, diet, Mindful practices are what you actually live. Sheryl Sandberg tells us if you want to change tomorrow, you have to build resilience today. Do it. I had a single mom tell me one time she couldn't bother taking care of herself because she had a family to take care of. Well, while the commitment to a non-negotiable such as family care is admirable, she missed something. Who takes care of the family if she ends up in the hospital or worse? Folks, you can't help anybody unless you help yourself. You've got to stay healthy. Your body is the only thing that's going to get you to your rainbows. Why would you not take care of it emotionally, physically, intellectually, and spiritually? You got to do that. And along the way, you're going to have to stop, hit the reset button, and readjust your journey. Make sure that self-care is a part of your rainbows. I'm going to finish with a quote and a question. The quote comes from R.D. Laing. The range of what we think and do is limited by what we fail to notice. And because we fail to notice what we fail to notice, there's little we can do to change until we notice how failing to notice affects our thoughts and our deeds. So graduates, what will you do to notice and shape how you will choose well, live well, and be well? I thank you for allowing me to be with you today and for you being a blessing in my life. Best wishes.